Those days. I remember those days.
Hello, vinyl community. This is Tommy, and welcome to another musical adventure. Today's adventure is, as promised from last week, it's a rundown of the LPs that I picked up on this year's mini record crawl, is what I'm calling it. My pal Sean came in. Hi, Sean. For his yearly visit, and we did our annual record crawl. Now, for those expecting the epic video, sort of like last year's video, and I've said this, but I'll say it again. One of my very favorite videos I ever did last year. Go back a year and check out that video. It featured a lot of friends, a lot of VC members, and just was a fun video to make. So this year we scaled back. We didn't go to nearly as many stores. We didn't visit as many places. And some of the places we visited were places that I've featured on this channel before. And so this year I decided to put the camera down and we just did some good old record digging. And there's a few things that I picked up. And so I thought, as usual, I would share them with you and go through that. Hey, before we get to all that good stuff, and we're going to go through them pretty quickly, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so, please do so. Hit that bell notification. Comment. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you think of the stuff that I picked up. Now, the first few are records that Sean brought me. Some stuff he either had extras of or stuff that he had gotten. Anyway, the first one is this Vinyl Me Please Classics, John Coltrane, Sunship. Sean knows that I'm a huge John Coltrane fan, and this was part of the VMP Classics series. Sunship was an album Coltrane recorded in '65. It was released after John passed away, and this does feature the classic quintet. It was released in 1971. I gave this record a spin a couple of nights ago, and it's really good. Of course, I love Coltrane, so there's not a whole lot there that I'm missing out. Now, Sean is a big fan of the some of the original jazz classics that you've seen that have come out, and some of these he's gotten reissues of or replacements of. This is one of them, Curtis Counts. You get more bounce with Curtis Counts, and so I was really pleased and tickled that he felt like I could use a copy of this record on the Contemporary label. I have not heard this one yet. I love the cover on the Contemporary label. Curtis Counts, you get more bounce with Curtis Counts. I love the cover. Very cool. Here's another one that he had an extra of on the Prestige label. This is the Yusef Lateef Eastern Sounds record. I have not spun this yet, but Sean felt like, you know what, you need a copy of this in your collection. And so I think this is from the late 2000s is the pressing. Same thing with the Curtis Counts. And like I said, he's either replaced them with other copies, maybe better copies, but either way, he saw fit to pass them along to me, and I'm very grateful. Another one I think he had an extra of, and I'm grateful he did, is this Miles Davis in person. Miles Davis at the Black Hawk San Francisco, Friday and Saturday nights on the Columbia label. Very cool live Miles Davis recording, and so I'll always take good jazz music. And so this is no exception. And so this was one that he passed along. So those are the records that Sean brought me that he had that he felt I needed. Now the rest of these are things that I picked up on the record crawl this year. And I'm not going to break down where I got them or anything like that. I'm just going to show you the records because at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. Now the first couple I'm going to show you are some used records that I've picked up. This one is the History of the Bonzos. The Bonzo Dog Band. Neil Innes, of course. Ruddles fans know them. Beatles fans know them. That's the band that was featured in Magical Mystery Tour singing the song Death Cab for Cutie. The only thing I know about the Bonzos other than Death Cab for Cutie is the intro and the outro, which I think is hilarious. But that's it. This is a 2-record set on the United Artists label. It came out, I think, in the early 70s, around 73, 74. And so I'm looking forward to hearing this and giving it a spin and seeing what it's about. Now, this next one is one that I just was kind of filling a hole in my collection and felt like, you know what, I need to get it. Ringo the Fourth on the Atlantic label. This is a promo copy, I guess. It's got the promo sticker, not for sale, down there. I don't know a whole lot about this album. I think the cover of it is absolutely atrocious. I think it is ugly. That's an ugly album cover to me. Sorry, Ringo fans. But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know this album, and it was affordable. It was at a good price, and I did not have it, so I thought that I would go ahead and pick it up. I know this got reissued recently on the Friday Music label. I don't do Friday Music, and so I wasn't about to pay, you know, $30 or $40 for Ringo the Fourth. Sorry, just not going to do it, but glad to pick that up. Falco 3, if you grew up in the 80s like I did, I was about 5th grade when Rock Me Amadeus came out, and it was everywhere. Huge, huge song. This is the American version of the album featuring the 8-minute Salieri version of Rock Me Amadeus. Also featuring all these different mixes and remixes. Vienna Calling, his version of It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, which is quite interesting. Kind of borders on Serge Gainsbourg. Genie, I knew that song from a single. But, you know, Falco, you know, 80s German synth rock. Now this will be the 3rd copy of this album that I've had in my collection. But this is one that I picked up from Vinyl Me Please, the Vinyl Me Please Essentials. This is after many, many people urging me, Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak, and I got a Gilbert Kong original copy of this album. I, you know, have had this album many times. I got the reissue that came out a couple of years ago, and this was the one that kind of called out to me. Everybody said, you got to get it. Of course, that beautiful swirl vinyl. And this is the one I believe was cut by Kevin Gray, I believe. Yep, Kevin Gray cut this one. And I have spun it, and it is excellent. Very good pressing, very dynamic. So this is, to me, going to be my go-to version of this album. I love Thin Lizzy. You know, this is probably their classic album. But yeah, it's really good, well done, and it is the best sounding. And I did just for nerd reasons, I did AB it with my Gilbert Kong, which I thought was kind of the superior version, and it does outmatch it quite well. So there you go. So Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak from Vinyl Me Please. Now the next two was some recent reissues that I had to get as a completist. If you go back and look at my last video, I talk about this, where I kind of start the discussion about being a completist. But I held my nose and bought Around the Sun. This was the 2004 album from REM. It just got reissued on vinyl, and these were cut by Kevin Gray. I think they say Discogs say they were pressed at Memphis pressing plant, but I think they have RTI plates. The other reissues were pressed at RTI, so I don't know if they would change. The Kraft Recordings puts them out. But anyway, so this is an album that didn't grab me the first time I heard it. Was not a big fan of it, and after listening to the new vinyl reissue, yeah, it sounds really good. There's some songs on here that are quite decent. It just still, to me, is a weak REM album. One of my favorite bands. I'm going to have the complete, you know, set of albums, studio albums on vinyl, so I had to get it. But I kind of held my nose buying it because it came out and was reissued the same day as Collapse into Now. This was the 2011 album, and it was their final studio album. This was the last album they made. Of course, this is after Bill Berry departed the band, so it was just a 3-piece. It was Michael Stipe, Peter Buck, and Mike Mills. But this one, produced by Jackknife Lee, I do like this album quite a bit. They went out on a good note. The last couple of REM albums I enjoyed. Now, is it as good as that IRS stuff or going back to the early Warner Brothers stuff? No, I think REM is at their best when there's four. Bill Berry, the drummer, was, made it complete. But I do enjoy this album. There's quite a few songs on here that I like. And, is it the best REM album? Probably not. But is it the best of the Bill Berry-less albums? Probably. Maybe. So, yeah, it was the couple of an album I kind of like, an album, not going to get as much spin time. And finally, the last thing that I picked up was the new Frank Zappa release, Funky Nothingness. This was an album that was sort of scheduled to be somewhere between, it was a follow-up to Hot Rats and right before Chunga's Revenge. Some of these mixes have been available on various compilations through the years, lost episodes and everything. That's what the book looks like. Great picture of Frank. So it's that period in the early 70s. It's kind of bluesy, which is kind of neat for Frank. Don Sugarcane Harris is one of the featured musicians on this album. It's kind of a small ensemble playing here. But it's a cool set. And, of course, I'm a Zappa fan, so this was one I had to add to the collection. Funky Nothingness by Frank Zappa. So that is the pickups from the record crawl. Now, for those of you that are lamenting that I didn't go to all the stores and go crazy filming, there are plans in a few weeks to get together with some other VC people, and we're going to do a record crawl then. So we had to do kind of a scaled back one with Sean this year. Probably going to be more epic next year. So stay tuned. I hope that you hang around. But I did want to share what I picked up because I know folks are interested in that. So again, subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. Do you have any of those records? Interested in any of them? What do you think? And so that's all I've got for you on this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.